Hi everyone, my name is Cynthia. Let's talk books. Today I'm here to do a dedicated review to Patsy by Nicole Dennis-Benn, the author of Here Comes the Sun. So I believe that this is her second book. I haven't read Here Comes the Sun, but I will now because Patsy was such an amazing book. It's a bigger book. I believe it's over 400 pages or just over 400 pages. Let me double check. Yeah, just over 400 pages. But it's a book that is really difficult to put down. I actually had to force myself to slow down with this book and put it to the side because I started reading it and then my friend told me that she wanted to buddy read it with me. And so I immediately was like, okay, I need to stop. And while I was waiting for her to catch up, she actually surpassed me and I was like, oh no. And so the last half of the book I read in like 2 sittings because it's just that readable, that compelling. You want to know what happens to Patsy and where the story is gonna go. It's also a very just human book. It's heartbreaking, it's frustrating, it's life, and I just really loved every aspect of Patsy, and I think a lot of you will love it as well. So first, a quick premise. Patsy tells the story of a Jamaican immigrant who we see her in Jamaica as she's trying to make her way to the U.S. and she makes it to the U.S. and then we see her really over the course of a decade in her life in the U.S. We don't see every aspect of it, but we see key important moments there. So what I want to do in this review is just go through like 4 of the main themes in the story. This is not a exhaustive list of themes in the story, but these are the ones that kind of stood out to me. So the first theme that really stood out to me and made me really love this story was that of motherhood, because Dennis-Benn really explores a complex version of motherhood in this book. Patsy, by the time we enter the story, is a mother. She has a daughter in Jamaica. But throughout the book, we are getting little bits and insights into more of what that meant for Patsy. So Patsy didn't want to be a mother, and that basically informs a lot of her relationship with her daughter. So this might be considered a little bit of a spoiler, so skip like a minute ahead if you're not interested in this particular spoiler. But it also happens in like the first few chapters in the book, so it's not a huge spoiler. But when Patsy comes to the U.S., she leaves her daughter behind in Jamaica with no intention of like coming back for her daughter, sending for her daughter, or anything like that. That's really gonna like rub people the wrong way, and I just love that. I love that because wow, I could think like, no, why would she leave her daughter behind? I also, the way that it's explained, Patsy's reasons for leaving her daughter in Jamaica, I totally understood why she did it. I thought it was a shitty decision, but I also understood Patsy. And this becomes a key theme or a key recurring thing in the novel. Characters in this novel are complex, not always completely likable, but not always completely bad either. Like there's no stereotypical characters in this book, I felt. Even the drug dealer in the story, like the bad guy, is not just the stereotypical bad guy. There's a cop in the story, and also not just the stereotypical macho Jamaican guy either. I was just so impressed with the complexity of each and every single character in this book, beginning with Patsy herself. Another key theme in the story is that of queerness. Patsy likes women. Her sexuality is never strictly defined, in large part because while Patsy is in Jamaica, she doesn't have any room to explore her queerness. She just knows that she is in love with her female best friend, and they do explore a sexual relationship together. And the best friend is the reason she wants to go to the U.S. Her friend has left years before, and they've been writing to each other. And Patsy needs to leave Jamaica because she thinks that she will get to the U.S. and really be able to be herself and be in love with her friend, something that was not possible in Jamaica. So we get to explore what queerness meant to Patsy in the 1980s and 1990s Jamaica, and then how that migration to the U.S. Affects her sense of identity and her queerness. It is just, that part is also so beautifully, there are tragic elements in there, but it's just so beautifully told. I really appreciated how honest it felt, the way Patsy both tries to explore that queerness, but also how she is constrained by the societies and the communities in which she lives. Another really important theme is that of love, both familial love, right? The relationship between daughters and mothers is really important in the story, but that of romantic love, of what happens when the person you are fully and completely in love with, fails you, when that person fails you. What that does to a person emotionally and physically, and we get to see Patsy go through all of that. A daughter, as a mother, as a romantic interest, as the object of love. There are men in the story that love Patsy, but she can't reciprocate that love, that romantic love, because she's in love with a woman. And then, but also why she can't fully explore that love. It's beautiful all around. And then the fourth theme I wanted to talk about is that of immigration. My friend and I, as we were talking about this book, she kept bringing up how just realistic the story of immigration felt here, because we're seeing it from a Jamaican immigrant who had legally arrived in the U.S. And this is actually the most common way that immigrants make it to the U.S. is through a visa and then overstaying a visa. That's what happens in Patsy's story. So then she is in the United States illegally. That means she can only take certain kinds of jobs, which actually ends up putting her in a position in which she really, really does not want to be in. Patsy has an incredible brain for numbers. She's basically like a math whiz. But in Jamaica, she hadn't had all of the opportunities to fully realize her potential. Making it to the U.S. means that is made even worse, because she can only take really lower rung jobs, and she's got this incredible brain and she's got goals and things she wants to do, but because of her immigration status, she can't even begin to explore some of those dreams or make them possible. So because of that, she also can't go back to Jamaica. There's a lot of reasons why Patsy can't go back to Jamaica, but at a very practical level, her immigration status means she cannot return to Jamaica and then come back to the U.S. That's just not going to be possible. So it adds layers of complication to all the other kinds of relationships and plot that is happening in the story. If you are a character-driven reader, there's a lot here to explore. If you are a plot-driven reader, there's a lot happening, in every chapter as well. In terms of setting, I felt like the Jamaican aspect of it, while it's a short part of the book, felt really real. I've never been to Jamaica, but it felt real and honest to Patsy and her story. And then the American side also felt very real. We get to see her live through the period of the Obama election in the story, and it's just, I thought that was handled so well because it's there, it's in the story. We get to hear there's an election coming, there's this black man Obama running. But the effect that has for Patsy, who is an immigrant who can't vote, who is barely making minimum wage kind of a thing, is not that significant for this particular black immigrant. And that was just powerful to read as part of the story. just how little of an impact the presidency of Barack Obama has here. And like it also felt very realistic, very real. So just incredible. One last thing, while Patsy is the focus for the most part of the story, we do have dual perspectives. So we have the perspective of her daughter. And sometimes we'll go like several chapters through Patsy's point of view, and then we'll go back to her daughter's point of view and seeing what's happening, what the effect of her mother being gone is for her daughter, and then how just complicated that relationship is. The whole book, there's like heartbreak after heartbreak. That's probably another main theme in the story is heartbreak. All kinds of heartbreaks are happening here, but in the end, it was just a wonderful story. It's not a fatalistic story. It's not a story that's like will make you hate the world. Although there are aspects that will make you hate the world, but there's also things that will just make you like sit back and like, wow, you know, breathe and acknowledge the complexity of life. And it's one of those things that really makes literary fiction for me really worth it, and kind of the pain and the tragedy worth to read about. Of course, I'm a romance reader too, so I get kind of my dose of happiness in reading in that genre. But then these books like this come along and just like really just feed my soul as well. So if you have read Patsy, or if it's on your to read list, let me know down below. Highly, highly recommend it. There are some content warnings that I would want to warn people about. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it down in the description box, so anybody that's interested in looking at the content warnings can find those. And then if you're not, you can just skip it, of course. But let me know, please, if you've read it. I also want to mention that I originally found out about this book via Dee at Brown Girl Reading. I'll link her channel down below because she has fabulous recommendations, and she did a wonderful review of this book in which she says like, yeah, you've got to like be prepared for a lot of the tragedy and hardship that you're gonna see in this book, read about in this book, but it is definitely worth your time. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.